All right, so the Unit 5 review, 5D, number 2, is another one of these problems where I tell you you have this equation in this form, and you know 2 points that the graph passes through. And somehow you should be able to plug in those points and figure out what A and B are. And so let's just try plugging them in. I know that when x is 1, y is 12. So if I plug in the point 1, 12, y is 12. So here, let me rewrite AB to the x. So y is 12 when x is 1. So I know that 12 equals A times B, because B to the first is just B. So then if I do the same thing over here, where I plug in 3 and 108, then I get y equals AB to the x. When x is 3, y is 108. So that's like plugging in the 3 for the x, AB cubed equals 108. And now I've got two equations with two unknowns. So it's actually a system of equations. I'm actually going to put the 108 on top, and you'll see why in a second. Now, we can't solve this the same way that we did linear systems of equations, where you can just add straight down and get rid of a letter, or even manipulate it to do that. But one nice trick is that, okay, we can add equations, we can subtract equations from each other. Turns out you can multiply and divide them too. And that comes in handy because if we divide the top one by the bottom one, the a's will cancel. And b cubed over b also simplifies. So think of it as 3b's on top and 1b on the bottom. So those cancel, and you're left with b squared. By the way, 108 divided by 12 is 9. So 9 is b squared. And then if you square root both sides, you get plus or minus root 9, which is plus or minus 3 equals b. Now, for exponential functions, the base, b, has to be positive, right? That's just by definition. So we can ignore the -3. Therefore, the b value must be +3, right? You don't need the plus there, but I'm just putting it there to emphasize. Okay, so now we know b is 3. So we can go back to our original equations and plug it in and figure out what a is. And I don't think it's too hard to guess that that's the easier one to plug into. So 12 equals AB. So 12 equals A times 3. And so if you divide both sides by 3, you get 4 equals A. So a lot of times the question is, what's A and B? That's what this says. Sometimes the question is, what's the function? So the function in this case would be 4 times 3 to the x, right? But for this problem in particular, that's the answer. Why won't it stop recording?